All right, today we're diving deep into a critical piece of your body's wiring. It's something you probably never think about, but you use it every single second of every single day. We're going to pull back the curtain on the cervical plexus, the hidden network that's basically running the show in your neck and chest.
Seriously, go ahead and try it right now. Take a nice deep breath. Feel your chest expand? Good. Now give your shoulders a little shrug. Feels simple, doesn't it? But behind the scenes, there's this lightning-fast command center just firing off signals. So what exactly is pulling the strings?
Well, this is the answer. It's the cervical plexus. This amazing, intricate web of nerves is responsible for those simple movements and a whole lot more. So in this explainer, we're going to unpack exactly what it is, how it's built, and why it is so incredibly important. So first up, let's frame this correctly. We're talking about the neck's control center. This isn't just a passive bundle of wires. It's an active hub of communication, constantly dictating both what you feel and how you move. But to really get what it does, we first have to see how this incredible network is even put together. We got to look at the blueprint. You know, the word plexus sounds kind of complicated, but all it really means is a network or a braid. A fantastic way to think about it is like a busy electrical junction box, or maybe even a major highway interchange for your nerves. Signals come in from different routes, they get sorted, and then they shoot off on new paths to get where they need to go. And here's our map for today. The cervical plexus is built from these nerve roots that pop out from the top 4 vertebrae in your neck. You can see them labeled there, C1, C2, C3, and C4. Just think of those as the main power cables that form the foundation of this whole thing. Building it is actually a pretty straightforward 3-step process. First, you've got the roots we just talked about, C1 through C4. Now, don't get tripped up on the term anterior rami. That's just a fancy anatomical way of saying they're the nerve branches that point toward the front of your body. Step 2, these roots link up with each other to form these really elegant loops. And third, from these loops, well, that's where all the action happens. All the other specific nerves branch off from there. Okay, so all the branches that come off these loops can be split into 2 main teams, and each team has a totally different job. You've got team sensory, and their job is to send information in. They're the ones telling your brain about touch, pressure, temperature, all that feeling stuff. Then you've got team motor, and they do the opposite. They send commands out from the brain to make your muscles move. Information in versus commands out. Simple as that. Let's meet team sensory first. These are the sensory branches, what I like to call the feeling network. This is the crew that's responsible for every sensation on the skin, all around your neck, the back of your head, and even down onto your upper shoulders. So who are the stars on this team? Well, you've got the transverse cervical nerve that lets you feel the collar of your shirt. Then there are the supraclavicular nerves. They're the reason you can feel a backpack strap sitting on your shoulder. And then the lesser occipital and auricular nerves, they handle all the feeling around your ear and the back of your scalp. Put them all together, and you get a perfect sensory map of this whole area. And check this out. This image shows their path perfectly. You can see how these nerves start out deep inside the plexus, kind of tucked away behind the big neck muscles, and then, poof, they fan out to cover every inch of the skin's surface. They travel a pretty long way just to let you know a bug landed on your neck. It's pretty incredible. All right, we've covered the feeling network. Now it's time to switch gears and talk about the movement crew. These are the motor branches, the ones that carry those outbound commands from your brain straight to your muscles. Now, the motor team has some really fascinating players. There's the ansa cervicalis, which is this really cool-looking nerve loop that controls the tiny muscles you use for swallowing and talking. Then there are the segmental branches, which go right to those deep neck muscles that are working 24/7 just to hold your head up. But honestly, they're both just the opening acts for the headliner, the most critical motor branch of them all, the phrenic nerve. And that brings us to the MVP, the most valuable player of the entire cervical plexus. No exaggeration. If this whole network were a legendary rock band, the phrenic nerve would be the lead singer, the lead guitarist, and the drummer all rolled into one. It is that important. There's this classic little rhyme that medical students have chanted for generations, and for a very good reason. It's simple, it's catchy, and it perfectly captures the origin and the absolutely essential job of the phrenic nerve. So let's break down exactly why this little saying is so famous. So here's why it's so vital, and it's dead simple. The phrenic nerve provides the one and only motor supply to your diaphragm. And your diaphragm is the big, dome-shaped muscle that does almost all the work when you breathe. So no signal from the phrenic nerve,
no contraction of the diaphragm. No contraction, no breathing. It's that direct. This is precisely why a high spinal cord injury can be so devastating. If you damage these nerve roots, you can lose the ability to breathe on your own.
And would you just look at the journey this thing takes? It's incredible. It starts way up here in the neck, then it travels all the way down through your chest, right past your heart and lungs, to finally plug into the diaphragm at the bottom. What a long and crucial road trip. And if we go back to our schematic, our little map, you can see that famous saying in action. Look closely. You can see how the phrenic nerve gets its wiring from C3, from C4, and even a little bit from C5, which is technically part of the next network down. Why? It's like a built-in backup system, an insurance policy to protect this absolutely critical function. C3, 4, and 5 really do keep the diaphragm alive. So as we zoom out and look at the whole picture, it's pretty staggering to think about, isn't it? This whole system, this masterpiece of biological engineering, is just tucked away quietly behind muscles and bones in your neck, doing its job. Everything from feeling a breeze on your skin, to turning your head to look at something, to the automatic unconscious rhythm of your breathing while you're fast asleep, it's all being orchestrated by this one elegant network. It is the perfect example of a ridiculously complex system working silently and flawlessly in the background, just to keep you going. And that's the final thought I want to leave you with. The cervical plexus is just one of these major nerve networks in your body. There are others in your arms, in your lower back, which really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other incredible hidden systems are humming away inside you at this very moment, running the entire show without you ever having to think about them?